Wait, man, what you doing?
I always do the driving.
Wait, no, whoa.
I remember that.
What you remember is you used to drive that old busted joint. See, I drive the new hotness. Old and busted, new hotness.
Welcome to a Dragon Ball Super deck profile. With more to come soon, I'm Grant. Let's jump right into this, starting with this incredibly strong new leader. Masked Saiyan is so good compared to Vegeta because you can trade card advantage and self-awakening for a constant fuel for the engines your deck wants to put out each turn, and guess what? That still gives you card advantage and self-awakening in some cases, but it gives you a lot more choices to use as well. What other deck can you think of right now in the meta that turn 1 gives you a chance to land 3 critical damage on your opponent? It's insanely strong, the things you can do with this deck, but let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, now let's go ahead and start out with the basics. Everybody needs 4 super combos in their deck. Our leader's black, so that only leaves us one choice: Supreme Kai of Time, World's Protector. Exhilarating, I know, but I will say the ability on the super combo after turn 2 pretty much in this deck, because you're going to be overwhelming pretty much every turn and you mill 3. It really gives you a lot more offensive capability with the super combos, being able to play it on turn 2 or 3. If they're playing a ramp deck or a mid-range deck that's not really trying to whittle you down right away like we're trying to do, you can still use your super combo even though you haven't awakened, and it's insanely strong with this deck. Alright, moving on to the meat and bones of this deck. The main goal is to do mainly critical damage until you can swing for game. We do this through Mira from the Darkness with an overwhelm cost of 4 for a body with 20k critical, combined with Furthering Destruction Champa, which also combos with our leader, the Masked Saiyan, quite nicely, giving them both double strike critical. These are the main plays you want to make as often as possible with this deck. You either want to force them to dump their hand to stop you from giving them critical damage, or they just take the critical damage and lose those cards. Either way, you're destroying their hand. Of course, we're playing 4 of each of those cards. Here's an example of a turn 1 combo you can do fairly consistently, and it's even easier to do turn 2 or 3. After charging an energy, activate your leader's ability, milling 3 cards into your drop zone. This deck is exactly half red and half black, so your chances of getting both colors is pretty good. So let's say you got both colors, and then you swing in with your 15k critical attack from your leader. You then want to combo one 0-cost combo card. Whatever you want the least in your hand is what you want to go with. There's only 9 1-cost combo cards in this deck, so you should have one you can toss. That brings it up to 20k. Either you hit or they wasted 2 to 3 cards trying to stop you. After this battle, you now have 4 cards in your drop zone, making an overwhelm with Mira live. When you play Mira, swing into their leader, and now is when you would want to combo your Furthering Destruction Champa. Either you landed 3 critical damage to your opponent, or you really drained their resources and set them behind. And either way works for this deck quite well. But hey, let's be realistic, you won't be landing that combo every single game, at least on the first turn that is, so we have other plays to do on the first or second turns. The first card you can play is Manipulating God Champa. We run 4 of these to search out our Furthering Destruction Champa, or Destructive Terror Champa, as well as it being able to pull itself if it's the only option, so you can try again later if you still can't get a Furthering Destruction Champa, or preferably you can play it as an energy the next turn. The second one is a staple for red decks, and of course, it's Saiyan Cabba. We also run 4 of these. They're great to pressure your opponent turn 1, and it's one of the cards in the deck that can help us self-awaken, but do remember, we want to do the majority of our damage with critical. And obviously, we are playing Bardock for a reason. Since he mills 3 cards every single turn, it gives you the ability to overwhelm either one of these trunks each turn. We play 4 of the Time Patrol trunks for the card advantage he brings to the table, and 2 Unrelenting Assault trunks, since if we get 1 at the end of each turn, we'll get him back after we overwhelm him. We also play 4 Quick Rush trunks, just a 15k critical attacker for 2 energy. It's good, effective, and cheap, and if it mills with the leader's ability, or it dies, we'll get it out in the warp, and it can come back with the last card in our Trunks engine, Killer Sword Trunks. Killer Sword Trunks is so strong because for 4 energy you can evolve a Trunks Xeno you already attacked with, which the only Trunks Xenos that we have in this deck. You're going to be playing with Overwhelm. And along with that, getting the second attack from a Trunks, you also bring back any threat in your warp that costs 3 or less. You'll want to pick Quick Rush Trunks almost every single time you can, but if he's not in your warp, you should have at least one decent threat to pick from, since the warp fills up quite a bit by turn 4 with this deck. This deck's defense mainly comes from destroying their threats on the field with threats of your own, and of course Jiren is the king at that. We play 3 of him, as well as 3 Toppo. Toppo is strong because you can negate an attack for 2 energy if your opponent's awakened, and then you still get a 20k body on the field. This switches to active mode when he KOs an opponent's battle card. We also use 2 Increasing Evil Masked Saiyan. He can take out big threats your opponent plays, and he only costs us 1 energy with Overwhelm. These 3 cards combined do a great job of keeping the board clear and safe for yourself if you can't get your critical damage in early. Now, if your game makes it to turn 5, you have some hefty game-winning plays to make. First, we play 4 Awakened Warrior Bardocks, because he is the only card currently that SS3 Bardock can evolve from. You'd want to Overwhelm Awakened Warrior Bardock, which gives him double strike. Swing with it, either into a creature or at the leader, especially if the leader's at 5. You get these first 2 damage in, and then you evolve him into SS3 Bardock, who has triple strike, and since our leader is black, and we're evolving him from Bardock, he sends all of our opponent's battle cards to the warp. This card is insanely strong and is great at controlling the game. We play 3 of them, and if you get this guy on the field, it's probably a GG. But we also play 3 Destructive Terror Champas to round out the deck. It gives you another triple strike threat on turn 5 that blows up most of their field, hopefully, and gives you the power to close out the game. And if you get him really early, he's a really pretty energy to charge. Well, that wraps up our Masked Saiyan Aggro deck profile. I hope you enjoyed it. Have anything you would change in the deck? Let me know in the comments. I want the comments to be a great place for discussion on the Dragon Ball Super meta. Also, what other decks do you think will be strong in this new format with Cross Worlds coming out? Do you think it's going to beat my deck? I personally think the Saiyan Apes will change yellow dramatically and Broly might make a comeback, but that's just my theory. I want to hear yours. If you want to see more deck profiles like this, feel free to subscribe for more DBS, deck profiles, and more coming in the future.